Hi there, this is Miss Miller, Deputy Head Teacher here at Wallingford School, and I'm going to talk you through the presentation that we gave at the Year 10 Information Evening, where we focused a lot on the school motto of able and qualified, what that means for your children, and how we are here to support children and how we would like to work with yourselves as parents and guardians. So in terms of introductions, the Year 10 team is made up of Mrs Burns as Head of Year 10 and myself as Deputy Head, where I'm in charge of raising standards. Please do get in touch with either or both of us if you've got any questions, and likewise you're always welcome to get in touch with your child's form tutor. And there's another group of people who are going to be working alongside the tutors, Mrs Burns and myself, and you'll have contact from them at various points during the school year. So Mrs Atkins, who's our Senko, Mrs Ward, who some of you will remember from the Year 9 options evening, so she works with us on careers and guidance for students, and then Miss Forno. So like I said, get in touch with any of us if you've got any questions. We'd always be very happy to help. So during this presentation, I am going to focus on the school motto of able and qualified, and I will probably reverse it and start with qualified and then move on to able. I've introduced the Year 10 team to you, and you can see a snapshot of the qualified bit and what I'm really going to focus on and how we would like your support and our expectations for your child as well. So this is what we're all aiming for. So this is what you will want for your young people. Happy, smiling faces on results day at the end of Year 11. But we know here at Wallingford that it's not just about being successful in terms of qualifications. So that's the qualified bit of the school motto. We also recognise that there's the able part, where we want to have happy young people here at school. We want to support them in their mental health and their well-being, and find opportunities for them to develop and grow as young people. So opportunities such as the sponsored walk, so where they had to walk and raise money for a charity where they did phenomenally well, so over £21,000 raised. Other opportunities such as work experience, where they get the opportunity outside of a school environment to experience the workplace. Lots of opportunities for them to enjoy each other's companies, try out new things, and just focus on things away from the learning that goes on in the classroom and this end goal here of leaving us qualified. In terms of our vision for qualified, I think if you spoke to any member of staff here, what we would say to you is that we want students to feel that they have open doors for themselves. So they've got options at the end of Year 11, whether that is that they're going to stay here with us, they might be going to another college, or perhaps they're going to go straight into the world of work with an apprenticeship. These are things that are individual goals for young people that we want to work hard and support them on. So sticking with that theme of qualified to begin with, I always think it's worth showing this slide because it gives a really visual reminder of the grades that your children are going to be awarded, the numerical grades, the one at the top of that table, in relation to the old GCSE grades that were rewarded. And you'll see here that the grade 4, grade 5 boundary here encompasses the whole of the grade C, the old grade C. So we talk about grade 4 as being a pass and grade 5 as being a strong pass. And then in terms of vocational qualifications, so those would be our BTECs that some of your children are studying for the first time this year. They are awarded grades in a slightly different way. You can see they're awarded as a pass, merit, distinction and distinction star. So very shortly, we will be confirming the target grades for our students in Year 10, and they will probably appear as a mix of numerical targets for any GCSE grades, and then for those students who are also studying for a BTEC, they will look like a kind of letter, so the PMD star. And that's how we will report to you over the next 2 years as well, in terms of the progress that your child is making. So in terms of things to consider on the qualification side, we still very much focus on passing English and maths. That is really important to open doors for young people. So we know that if our young people can pass their English and maths by the end of year 11, that they can go on freely to study other post-16 qualifications without having to retake the English and maths. If students leave us without English and maths, they will need to retake them at some point at their college or with us if they stay here. So it is really, really worthwhile investing a lot of time in making sure that your children can pass both of those GCSEs if that's what they are aiming for. And certainly we will focus a lot on that as well as a benchmark. Both of those subjects do also underpin a lot of the other subjects that your children are studying, so it has knock-on benefits to passing those and investing heavily in those subjects, because it will help them a lot in the other subjects that they are taking. So if your children, if they're leaving us with grade 4s and 5s in their GCSEs, then we always say to them that they should really be thinking about taking a suite of BTEC qualifications, vocational qualifications at sixth form college or here. And if students are leaving with 6s or above, then we would probably say to them that A-levels would be a consideration, and indeed they may also want to do some BTEC qualifications as well, which is absolutely fine. But the kind of minimum grade that you should be thinking about A-levels from is a grade 6. So something to bear in mind as you see target grades and progress reports coming out throughout the next 2 years. So the important dates for you as parents are the progress report. So the first progress report is coming out on the 24th of November. I'm mindful that there's a number of weeks between now and the 24th of November, so we will be in touch if we have any concerns about your child. But equally, if you have any concerns, then please don't hesitate to drop us an email so that we can work with you to see how we can support your child. The second progress report is at the start of February, which is followed very shortly afterwards by a parents' evening. So you'll have had sight of that latest progress report data when you speak to your child's teachers. Mock exams start shortly after that, and there will be a programme for young people in year 10 working on a revision timetable, good revision strategies, getting ready and prepared for those mock exams. Then when we come back from Easter holidays, that first week back, that will be our work experience week. We're really hoping that we can get young people out into the work placements as we have done in previous years, so they can get a flavour of what workplaces are like, and there'll be more information coming out on that as the next weeks or so pass. And then on the 8th of July will be the final progress report, which will give you a really good indication going into year 11 of where your child is at. And again, we will be in touch if we have any concerns about your child. We'll be in touch outside of those progress report dates, and we do encourage you to get in touch with us at any point as well. So I showed some photos at the start of young people who left us fairly recently, and they obviously looked very successful. They're certainly very happy with their grades, and we were very proud of those grades. They worked very hard for them, and that's what we see, the kind of finished part of that qualified section for Key Stage 4. What we don't see is all the things that went on underneath that tip of that iceberg. So I talk to students about this quite a lot, because I think it's really worth stressing that when you see someone who's been really successful, you often haven't seen that journey of dedication and hard work, the failure, the disappointment along the way as well. Obviously that's something that you as parents see at home, and that we as teachers see, but I offer this as a kind of reassurance that these things are going on for all the people that young people see are successful. And the bit that I particularly focus on is the idea of failure and disappointment, and that it's normal, it's natural, it's actually a good part of learning to make mistakes. You learn from your mistakes. Teachers can identify what you might need more help with as well. And so you really mustn't be scared to try. And if it doesn't go quite right, that's what we're here for, to support young people and to kind of turn it around. And linked to that, I often talk to young people about the idea of forgetting, because I find that this is one of the biggest kind of knocks to confidence, is this idea of, but I worked really hard on my lesson, but then when I went home to do my homework, I just really didn't understand it anymore. And so what I say to our young people is, actually forgetting is a really normal part of learning. There's been a lot of research into why we forget, the benefits of forgetting, and what we can do to overcome forgetting. So I'm just going to talk you through this graph, and what it's showing us is that in a lesson, so the first time that young people are exposed to something, generally speaking, they're kind of feeling reasonably confident with it. They think that they've understood it, they've retained that information in that 50-minute lesson. But very shortly after, so minutes after they've left the lesson even sometimes, they've forgotten a proportion of that information. So we would often send them home with homework, and they'd have to revisit that information. And then, they're feeling confident with it again, but time passes and they forget it a little bit more again, which is where the idea of revision comes in really helpfully, because they revisit it and they forget it a little bit less, and it takes a little bit longer to forget that little bit less. And then the third time they revisit it, you can see here that there is a slight proportion of the information that is maybe lost, but it's taken quite a long time to get to that stage where it's lost, and actually they've still retained a huge amount of the information. So what this is showing us is that forgetting is normal, and the way that we can overcome it is to persistently work hard, revisit topics, and to make sure that homework is completed, and that we're listening to all the advice from teachers. So the main things that I tell our students is plan to revisit topics. Okay, that's commonly what we call revision. Try and revise topics shortly after learning them. Often that is what homework will be. That reason that homework is set and it's crafted in the way that it is in order to try and get this bit of revisiting and forgetting out of the way, to open the door for when it is next revisited. Okay. A lot of research has gone into this idea of spaced learning. So it is not a good idea to spend 1 week just revising geography, followed by another week of just revising history. The better way of learning is to space those things out. So to interleave your subjects, and within those subjects to space out the different topics and then revisit them frequently. That is how your brain ends up organising things and retaining it in your long-term memory. And then this is a really fancy way to reduce your cognitive load. It's a really fancy way of me basically saying, put your phone away. Get off your screens, be in a nice quiet room, set yourself up somewhere where you're comfortable and you can focus on your revision. So what should your child be doing? So I've spoken a little bit about this idea of forgetting, about success. I've spoken about some ways that you might be able to overcome forgetting, but there's more than just that goes into the qualified part and being successful. One thing that I can't stress enough is the link between regular attendance and being successful. So we would really encourage your child to attend school regularly. If you're struggling to get your child to attend school, or if there are some medical reasons or other things that are going on, do be in touch with us so that we can provide support and try and work with you if appropriate. Absolutely, it goes without saying that children should be completing all of their work to the best of their ability, and that means actively engaging in lessons. There's no point in coming to school and just sitting through a lesson passively. You have to be present in the lesson and actively engage with it, but also homework should be completed really well, and revision is something that should be engaged with as well. And then I've said about coursework. So coursework in the kind of old sense doesn't exist any longer, but there are still tasks that are not exam assessments that are set in certain subjects. I can't stress enough the importance of handing it in on time. If it's handed in on time, then it means that feedback can often be given and then changes can be made. But when students miss deadlines, we are unable to give feedback, and that's not us being awkward. Those are the exam rules. So, we would love to give feedback and help students to improve their work, but unfortunately, the exam guidance for those subjects states that once a deadline is missed, the opportunity for feedback is limited. We ask that your child takes part in any intervention or revision activities that we put on, that they revise and try their best for the mocks. Don't shy away from trying really hard and it might go a little bit wrong. That's an opportunity for us to then know what we need to focus on moving forwards, but that's really important to take that really seriously. And please do encourage your young person to tell someone if things aren't quite going according to plan. There's many of us here who your young person can find, and we would love to help if possible. And we recognise it's not just all about the exam results. So I did talk about the able part to our school motto. We know that it's school is more than just coming to school and being in your lessons. It's about the friendships that you form. It's about finding your way, finding your place. It's about those extracurricular enrichment opportunities, and that's something that we're really hopeful this year that we can push a little bit more than we've been able to maybe in the last 18 months. So there will be a real focus on post-16 pathways over the next 2 years as well. There's also a very comprehensive PSHE programme that covers a range of topics to support your children, and also focuses on wellbeing activities as well. Trips and visits. I think that we have got our first trips and visits out very soon, and I know that we've got the Duke of Edinburgh Bronze Expedition coming up shortly as well, so it's really exciting to be able to offer those now. Many extracurricular activities. So clubs will be up and running again. I've mentioned Duke of Edinburgh already. It would be great to see lots of Year 10s involved in the school production as well. So please encourage your young person to take part in those. And if there's any problems with things like getting home or anything like that, then just get in touch, and if we can help out, then we would like to. And there will be celebration events along the way as well, and where we can, it would be fantastic to have parents in for those, working within the current guidelines. So largely, to finish off, I wanted to just focus on the support that you might be able to offer your child throughout the next 2 years. I've mentioned attendance already, so work with us if necessary, but there is a massive link between attendance at school and successful outcomes. Please help them to form good study habits, so finding a quiet place to work, creating a revision timetable, coming home, having a snack, and then getting on with some homework, but kind of making sure that it's completed, going to bed at a sensible time. You'd be amazed at the amount of sleep teenagers need, and it's really important that they get that so they're well rested and they can perform well in school. Talk to them about what they're doing. I know it can be challenging sometimes to talk to teenagers or get much information out of them, but if your young person knows that you're going to ask, they know that you care, and they hopefully will share some information with you when they're ready to as well. Limit their screen time. I talked about that reduction of cognitive load. So do encourage them to leave their phone in another room, to leave their phone downstairs overnight. Again, I hear regularly about young people who are only getting maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep a night, and a lot of the time it's because they're on their phones. So please try and limit screen time where possible. And then maybe counterintuitive, I think a lot of parents think that their child should be working all the time in Year 10 and 11, and I would say no. They should be encouraged to do other things. So if they are sports people or musicians, or they enjoy going for walks or reading, all these other things outside of their schoolwork, it's important that they carry on with those. It's important that they continue to see their family, their friends, and it's really good for their mental health, for their well-being, and they will be much happier, more relaxed, more able to engage in their learning. So that's an important part of this year. And then as a parent, it can be challenging. I definitely know this, but try and be really firm and consistent, even if you're getting pushback from your young person. Teenagers need boundaries in the same way as younger children do as well. So do get in touch with us if you would like some of our support, so that we can help with the work that you're doing at home and vice versa, so that we can work together. And as I just said, tell us if there's a problem. Okay, so we want to help, but we can't help if we don't know what's going on. So please do keep talking to us. And then our aim is obviously that your young people will be having this experience on their results day as well. So we want them to leave us as happy young people who have formed really good relationships with each other, that understand their place in the world, that are good citizens, but that are also well qualified, that doors can open for them for their future. Okay, thank you very much. There's a lot of information in this PowerPoint. Do refer back to it, flick through it as you need, but as I've said a few times, do just get in touch if you've got any questions, so we can help. Thank you.